Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty, serving the local real estate needs since 1974, offering residential, commercial, and land purchase. The market keeps hitting new highs and inventory is low. Maybe it's time to check what your current market value is. Talk to the professionals at Coldwell Banker Kinard. Let them guide you on your next move. Coldwell Banker Kinard, we never stop moving. Leave your mark on the world of real estate. Call them at 423-476-5532. Located 2650 Peerless Road Northwest.
Informational,
fun,
timely,
relevant.
That's what people are saying about A to Z in real estate. 30 minutes packed with great info for home sellers, buyers, and investors. And now let's welcome your host, Lizzy Cohen.
Welcome to A to Z in real estate. This is a beautiful Saturday morning, and I am your host, Lizzy Cohen, and with me is Shawn Matthews.
Good morning. How are you doing? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you. Thank you for being here.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yep, it's great to be here. You know, this program we have thought about bringing a real estate show, which we love, talk about real estate, is what we do, because quite frankly, the greatest investment that most people will do in their lives is buying or selling, or buying a piece of property, piece of real estate.
Very true.
So, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, in our educational system, people do not learn about real estate.
They don't have a class in it.
They do not have a course, and oftentimes we see first-time buyers completely clueless about what it entails to buy to purchase a property. And that's why we are here. We're the professionals.
Sure.
And we would like to answer any questions that people may have.
Right. And again, we're over at Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty here in Cleveland, Tennessee. Lizzy, we'll put up our phone numbers at the end so people can reach out to us with questions. But I thought today's topic would be fun. To kind of go through that process, start to finish.
Absolutely.
What setting those expectations. So let's roll with it. So. First part is getting pre-qualified, right?
Yeah. Now, before we jump on that,
Okay.
Shawn, I just don't want to forget about thanking our sponsor, Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty. They have been very gracious and generous to allowing us to do this. And thank you so much, Coldwell Banker Kinard Real Estate is one of the finest real estate firms out there since 1913.
Right.
Is that right?
1908.
1908.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So long time. And here in Cleveland, I guess Lloyd Hamilton started up in 1983 with the franchise, and we were merged with Kinard Realty, which started in 1973. So long time.
We've been around.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's definitely not a newbie in the area of real estate. Very solid company, great programs for the agents, and great service for the public. So we're happy to be a part of CB, as we call it, for sure.
And a big thank you to 104.1, the Mix, for allowing us to do this, because it is our passion. We enjoy it, and they have a big broadcast family that likes to listen in, and we just want to keep this as informative as possible.
Absolutely. And aside from the Mix, which they have been so gracious with us, we're working on our Facebook page, so we can interact directly with the public. So we will announce when we're ready with our Facebook page so that our listeners can send us their questions. We're going to publish all of our listings there, and hopefully we'll have a relationship with the community that way via Facebook.
Be a good resource.
Yeah, I hope so. So let's jump right in. Okay. I mean, buyers, pay attention. Take your laptops out and take notes, because this is a little bit of a schooling process.
Sure.
And we're going to walk you through the process as let's say you're a first-time buyer.
Yep.
This is the first thing you need to do. What is that?
Well, it would be to get pre-qualified. If you're not paying cash for the home, you're going to need some financing. And when you call real estate professionals, they're going to say, "Are you pre-qualified?" So what they're hoping, right, is that they've talked to a lender or their bank or their credit union, and they've said, "Yes, you have X amount of dollars for your buying power." So they may say you qualify up to $150,000 or $200,000, and that gives us some parameters to work with when we start that home search for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, otherwise we can't really help them because there's all kinds of different price ranges on the market.
Right.
And not only that, but having a pre-qual letter and being financial, having your finances in place also tells the seller of the house that you want to buy that you have done your homework, that you're serious about the buying a house. And it's just absolutely the first step. So get pre-qualified. We usually recommend that they would interview 2-3 people.
For sure. For
Two,
sure.
3 mortgage lenders.
And ask your family. Of course, the real estate people will have resources, and we'll try to guide them. If it's construction loan, or if it's conventional, or if they're looking at some of the other types of financing. But I always give out 3. And say talk to these 3 folks. What do you prefer? How do you want to be contacted? Email, phone calls, and then we set them on that path. A lot of times they have somebody in mind. They've talked to a family member and they said, we used Susie at ABC or wherever,
Right.
or if you bank at a local institution and they know you, it's a great place to start.
Right. Okay. So get pre-qualified. By the way, I was going to mention to the buyers too. They need to be ready to sign 3 checks. Mm-hmm. 3 checks at 3 different stages of the process.
Right.
The first one being the earnest money.
Right.
That is going to come along with the offer. Mm-hmm. And that earnest money is the buyer's money.
Right.
That's going to be part of the loan. Mm-hmm. Okay, but that is a requirement. In earnest money, every time people say, well, how much is that? What happens to that money? Well, it's your money. And usually, depending on the price of the property, it could be between $500 and $1,500,
right,
depending on the price of the property.
It just depends. And that can, just like you said, if it's a very expensive home, it could be $10,000. But, first-time home buyers, expect about $1,000,
right,
earnest money. And just like you said, it's their money. Mm-hmm. It's held in trust. Again, it's refundable, for different phases throughout the contract. But then it's brought to closing on their behalf. So
right,
it's just dollars less that they would bring to closing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the checks. The second check that they have to sign is the check for the inspector that is going to inspect the property once they present an offer. Mm-hmm. So inspections run about, depending on the size of the house, mm-hmm, $350
to $500.
$500.
And there's all kinds of extras they can get. Radon gas, they can have termite inspections. There's many layers, so it could be a few dollars more or less. And again, we're going to give them a list of vendors, and we're asking them to call. I see all kinds of discounts. People offer vendor or VA veterans discounts and different things.
Right.
And so call and tell them what the size of the house, and ask them of their their timeline. How long will it take to get in and inspect that house? Yeah, and
mm-hmm, like you said, we can assist our buyers to call inspectors that we've worked with before and mm-hmm, that we trust and that we know they do a good job for people, and they're not going to cost you an arm and a leg either.
Right. And there's a pretty good list. Last I checked, we had at least a dozen on mm-hmm, our vendor list. So it's a good list, and again, we don't try to dictate that in any shape or form. We want them to feel comfortable they made that choice, but it is super important to get a home inspection.
Yeah, so. And we're going to have an entire program dedicated only to inspections.
Right. We tried for this week, but they were all so busy.
Yeah.
So January's been a great month. So.
Right. Yeah. And so moving on, the last check that the buyer needs to be prepared to sign in the process is the check for the appraisal mm-hmm, of the property. Now, the appraisal of the property is done on behalf of the bank, of the institution that is lending the money to the buyer to buy this property. And so the purpose of this appraisal, of course, is to estimate the value of that property, the dollar value, for the bank to justify lending the funds
right,
to buy it.
Right. And it's not a home inspection.
It's not a home inspection.
Right. So, sometimes people get that confused. They say, well, isn't the bank going to do that?
Right.
Bank is looking specifically to secure their value, like
exactly,
you said. So is there sufficient equity? Does that property compare well with others? And that's what they're looking for. And appraisal, what do you think about $500?
Six, you know, 5 to 8. I mean, it's
5 to 8,
expensive.
yeah.
Appraisals are expensive, but there's no way around it.
Nope.
It's an expense that the buyer needs to be ready to incur, and it's no way around it if you're financing the property. Now, if you're buying cash, that's a different story. But 99% of our buyers, they are financing, especially first-time buyers, they're financing their purchase. So there's going to be an appraisal.
Sure.
And we want you guys to be prepared financially before you decide I'm ready to buy a property.
Right.
So money for earnest money, inspection, and appraisal. Now, moving forward, once we have that pre-qualification letter, right, from the bank, and we're looking around properties within that price range.
We're out shopping. Yeah.
We're shopping around. That's the fun part, and that's the part that people think, you realtors out there, you know, what a life. You're just driving around and just having fun. And
we show 3 houses and they buy one, right?
Right. Yeah, right. Doesn't work that way.
Only on TV.
Only on TV, yeah. So we drive you around. We look online. Thank God for the technology that we have now available. We can look a lot and narrow down our searches, and then get in the car and go to the property. The buyer falls in love with the property,
right?
And then the next step is
they're going to write an offer, right?
Right.
So they're going to prepare a sale and purchase agreement, a contract, and
we are going to prepare it for them.
Right, we're going to prepare it for them, and we're going to present that to the owner.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, that's easy for us. We think of it as very simply who's buying and selling, financing, inspection, contingency. 90% of it, I think, protects the buyer, really.
Absolutely.
You know, to make sure that we stay on a timeline, and you know, we have conditions, right, for an inspection period. It's conditioned upon them being approved for that loan that they pre-qualified for, and then you know, after all those boxes are checked, we've moved forward our timeline. We do a walkthrough and we go to a closing. But the actual offer, we sit down and there's probably 5, 6, 7 documents that they sign. You know, when they do that, and it's a good time to go over each one and understand what you're signing. You talked about the first time you bought a house, it was daunting. It wasn't explained well to you. You know, always ask. Say, what does that mean?
Yes.
You know, what are my obligations under that? Because we know it. We write them every day. You know, we can write a contract in 10 minutes. You know, and zoom it off in their email. But really, do they understand it?
Yeah.
So we're experts in that, and please take the time, ask the questions. We want to be a resource and answer those. So you're comfortable.
Absolutely, and a good real estate agent will understand that a first-time buyer has a lot of questions and has a lot of unanswered questions that sometimes they don't even know what questions to ask. That's the reality, and it is our job, and we take it seriously, to sit down with our first-time buyer and walk them through the process. So in the offer, the offer presents the lender letter, the pre-qualification letter, the earnest money that we just talked about. In the offer, we have to put a closing date. And anything else you want to ask for. So in the offer, if you, let's say, as we were walking through the house and you love those window coverings that the lady has, if you want to ask her to leave those window coverings, even though those are not real estate, it's personal property, the offer we can put there leaving the window coverings or whatever else that you would like to be part of your offer.
What's the craziest thing a buyer ever asked you to put in a contract?
I've had a buyer ask for a grandfather clock.
Okay.
Yeah. And he got it.
Oh,
but
wow.
he had to buy it separately.
Okay. And in Georgia, bill of sale, a little different.
Bill of sale, yeah.
And I've had pool tables, be requested,
right.
And the sellers were relieved, that they didn't have to move it. Sure.
Sometimes there's things in the garage, like for the guys, like, oh, I love that workbench, and sometimes the tools.
Yeah.
You name it. In a house, there's just so many things that are not part of the real estate as a building.
Right.
As the stuff that doesn't move.
Sometimes they're leased, a gas tank.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And you think
Right.
that it's going to convey, but you're paying a monthly fee. So that's our job.
Exactly.
Is to point that out to you
Exactly.
and say that gas tank is leased from the gas company and it's $7 a month. But as long as we tell them, that's our job. To make sure.
All right, so we are still looking to the offer and talking about the offer. We're going to take a little break.
Okay.
And then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Have you seen the new Coldwell Banker North Star signs? Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty has been serving the East Tennessee and North Georgia area since 1974 with 5 offices in Cleveland, Tennessee, Dalton, Ringgold, Cartersville, and Calhoun, Georgia. With the latest technology, CBKR's 145 licensed agents are ready to serve all your real estate needs. Call today, 423-476-5532. They offer residential, commercial, and land and property management. Call and speak to one of their licensed professionals today.
Welcome back, everyone, and we are talking about the process of buying and selling real estate. In this program, we might be able to only cover the buying part, the buying process, because there's just so much to talk about.
There is.
We really are running out of time. So we are in the offer
Right. We
process.
made the offer. It was accepted. We got them the drapes and the extra refrigerator in the garage, and we're moving into the due diligence period.
What does that mean?
So now we have 2 trigger points. They've got an inspection period. Right now home inspectors are busy, so I like to write at least 10 or 14 days to have that inspection.
That's what we call the due diligence.
Right. So we're going through. We're having a termite guy look at it. It's a great time to bring mom and dad back, right, on that second look, measure, make sure that king size bed's going to fit. And we get through the inspection period, and we get the report. There's a couple things on there. We ask the seller to fix this, put a stair rail in or whatever we might need. And we're through the due diligence period once we come to a meeting of the minds, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no. The
Okay.
inspector, thankfully, inspectors are great now. They present a report with pictures, and all their findings are very detailed.
Oh, yeah.
And we can see now, I think it's important to say about inspections. Inspections are not hey, there is a little crack here in the wall. We have to patch it. No.
Right.
Inspections are to make sure that the major systems of the house,
Right.
the plumbing, electrical, your furnace, your roof, the foundation.
Right. What's it going to cost you to live in that house over the next 1, 3, 5 years?
Right.
Should we budget for a roof? Is the HVAC system, on its last leg? The inspector's trying to, of course, give you an up-to-date picture of that right now, but they also want to tell you a little bit about what you should budget for. But it's not about cosmetic things.
It's
I
not
think you're
about
exactly right.
That's what I wanted to just stress, because how many times buyers they don't know any better, and of course when they see the report, like 70-page report from the inspector, and he's taking pictures of absolutely everything that they find, the buyer is like, I want all of that fixed right now. And that's not really the purpose of the inspection. We are looking out for you, absolutely, but we're looking at the high dollar systems within the property, the house, that need to be, they may have some issues, and we need to address those issues with the seller.
Right. So we would present the seller with a proposal.
For repairs.
Right. They may counter, but we're going to come to an amendment that's going to say yes. At least 1 or 2 days before closing, we're going to fix this, that, and the other, and you're welcome to come back and have it inspected or look at the invoice for it.
Yeah. And we cannot stress enough the importance of a good inspection to cover your basis, because you're like we said at the beginning. Buying a house is the largest investment that most people do.
Right.
We want to make sure that you're happy.
No surprises.
That there are no surprises. That's right.
Yep. So after we get that negotiated, they're probably talking back to their lender, saying we're moving forward. Let's get that appraisal ordered, right? So that's the next step. So that appraiser's going to come out and look at it with a different set of eyes. You know, he's going to look at it for the bank and for value purposes. They will look for major concerns with the house. You know, if there is a drainage problem, if there's standing water underneath it. Hopefully, we've addressed that in our inspections.
Right.
But they could come up with a few items. But really, it's a comparison approach to establish the value of that home.
Right.
So
and again, the appraisal is really ordered by the lender
right.
on behalf of the buyer of the bank that's
lending.
making
Sure.
the lending institution that is providing the money.
Exactly.
So they're coming in with a different set of eyes.
And what can happen?
Yeah, what happens if the appraiser says, "Sorry, but this house it's not it's not worth $180,000. It's worth $170,000."
Right. So, you know, as the buyer's agent, you know, I'm alerted, you know, that we had a problem with the value, you know, and a lot of times it's just a quick email, or, you know, there was a issue with the value. Then we request a copy of the appraisal, and
Right.
first we'll look to see if there was any mistakes. You know, biggest thing that comes up is square footage. You know, a lot of times it's quoted as 2,300 square foot, and the house shrunk a little bit when the appraiser gets there. You know, so that's one thing that comes up. And you know, another thing in this area, we have so many tri-level homes that subterranean or that lower square footage appraises for less money. So we can't just stack it all up, say it's 2,300 square foot and we're giving it $136 a square foot. It's not how they look at it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So it's a detailed report, you know, and again, they're looking for, you know, 3 homes that have sold just like it, you know, or as close to it as possible. So sometimes they're not out there, you know, if it's a rural house or if it's a unique property. So again, we back to negotiating, right? We present that to the listing agent, you know, and say the house didn't appraise, we have a value issue, and we've got 3 days to resolve that. You know, either they can accept it, they can send some new comparables in, or we might have to reduce the price. And we've only had maybe 3-4 of those last year.
Yeah, it's not a very frequent occurrence, but it does happen.
Yep.
And at that point, we have to address it.
Sure.
Shawn, we're going to take another break. We're going to present our feature listing of the week.
Good.
And we will be right back.
Very good.
Welcome to 234 12 Oaks Drive. This beautiful home features 5 spacious bedrooms, 3 full baths, stunning granite countertops in the kitchen and bathrooms, and if you're looking to set up a home office, this home offers a fully finished basement with a walk-in laundry room. Built in 2014, this home showcases gorgeous hardwood floors throughout and a large deck partially covered and equipped for entertainment. If your family is looking for a modern, elegant, and spacious home in Rock Spring, Georgia, this is the one for you. Call us for more information at 423-414-1002.
Welcome back to A to C in Real Estate, and we're talking about the process of buying a house. Hopefully this will be of value to all of you, and Shawn is here helping me with this important subject. So we left it at the appraisal.
Okay.
What happens if the house does not appraise for the contract price?
Right.
We try to negotiate it, try to iron out those wrinkles, and move forward. Typically, the appraisal comes back just fine.
Right.
You know, the price, the contract price is the right one, and the next step after that is for the title company and the lender to who by the way gets the appraisal report that everything is fine. So at that point they start wrapping it up,
Sending it off to final underwriting.
verifying. They do a second verification of the information the buyer provided at the beginning of the process.
Right, so it's important that nothing changes, right?
Nothing changes.
You're still employed.
Do not go ahead and buy a new car
No, don't buy a new car.
or a new refrigerator
yeah.
yet. Wait until you close.
Yeah, right. Wait until you close, and you know they're going to verify your employment. that day of closing or very close to it. So again, let your employer know, hey, the bank is going to be calling you, and make sure you return that call,
Right.
because there is a final check down there doing on that
There
side.
is.
Right.
And many lenders do not assume that the buyers already know all that, and they don't explain. And how many times things happen at the very end, and the underwriting process, the final underwriting, that the buyer didn't know, and he bought a new car. And that changed all the ratios, that changed his income to debt ratio, and there's no ability to buy a house anymore.
Right.
So, and that's one of the things that we offer. Before we enter into the wrapping up the program, we just go to the closing table. Once everything is approved and verified that nothing changed, the last thing to do is go to the closing table on the closing date that we all agreed
Exciting
upon.
day, right? Very exciting.
Exciting,
Yep.
happy day for everybody.
Going to do a little walkthrough, make sure that refrigerator's there and the
It's
blinds.
still there,
Yeah.
right, right.
And the power and water should still be on, so we can check everything, make sure it's okay. And then same thing. Buyer's going to have to start to make arrangements to switch those utilities and get their internet switched. So they have a lot of work to do. But
Yes.
now they come to closing and they're giving a closing disclosure, right? And it says you have to bring in $6,281. We're going to bring that deposit, the $1,000. We're going to meet at the closing table, and they're going to sign a small stack of papers, right?
Yep, they are. But it's all happy.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and usually closing agents, the person that actually does the closing and presents all the closing documents, they will explain each one of the paperwork that the buyer and the seller is required to sign at that time for the transfer of title
Right.
from the seller to the buyer to occur.
And that happens at a title company, right?
Right,
And
at the title company.
And that title company is insuring the title to make sure that it's clear. And then the seller's going to sign that deed, and it's going to be recorded. And then, it is now the buyer's property along with the bank.
And the keys
And
that
the
we-
keys. That's the exciting part.
That is the exciting part. Now, I want to conclude the program, which is over now. We ran out of time, as
Yep.
we always do. There's just so much to talk about, so many details to talk about, and the buyers in this context, they don't have an ability to ask us. They can ask us via Facebook, but one of the things that we offer you guys is free consultation.
Always.
Always. You can come to our office, no strings attached. We'll sit down with you and we'll walk you through the process and answer your questions, because no doubt you have a lot of questions about this first time buying a property. So we want to provide our contact information for those that are only listening via radio.
Right.
I am Lizzy Cohen, and my contact number is 423-414-1002. And Shawn, please.
Sure. You can always reach me as Shawn Matthews, Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty, 423-284-3233. And again, cell phone's the easiest way. Call, text, 423-284-3233. We're pretty quick to respond, to questions,
Yes.
calls.
Yes.
And again, I love to meet folks at the office that first time,
Yes.
and go over, their expectations and everything that they're going to see. Sometimes we're putting them on the phone with that lender if it's early in the process, but there are a lot of questions. We're here. We'll be the
here.
resource.
We want to make sure that our clients, our buyers, as well as our sellers, do not go through this process with fear. And the reason, or the way we accomplish that, is by providing you all of the information that we can, answer your questions, put your mind at ease, and actually enjoy the process. So thank you so much for your listening to us today. We really appreciate it. We are ready to enjoy the rest of the day, and I'm sure all of you are as well. And once again, I'm Lizzy Cohen, and my contact information is 423-414-1002. And Shawn?
Shawn Matthews, 423-284-3233. Give us a call if we can help.
Absolutely. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Coldwell Banker Kinard Realty, serving the local real estate needs since 1974, offering residential, commercial, and land purchase. The market keeps hitting new highs and inventory is low. Maybe it's time to check what your current market value is. Talk to the professionals at Coldwell Banker Kinard. Let them guide you on your next move. Coldwell Banker Kinard, we never stop moving. Leave your mark on the world of real estate. Call them at 423-476-5532. Located 2650 Peerless Road Northwest.